Hey guys, it's Mrs. Knopfsinger. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. Wish I was there with you guys. Today we're going to start looking at our light pollution PBL in terms of defining the problems. Engineers, before they start any process, start by asking what are the problems and what constraints am I working within? What is a good solution going to look like? So, to show your thinking through this, we're going to create what is called a design brief. A design brief is something that is used in the engineering world for engineers and their clients, or engineers and their boss, to communicate what kind of work they're going to do. Today you're going to start creating yours as a team, and it'll have 4 parts. There is a problem statement. This is going to talk about what the problem is within a bigger context. There's going to be a design statement, which is going to tell us what it is you're trying to design to solve this problem. You will then identify the criteria, or what your solution needs to be able to do. And finally, the constraints. What are the limits that you have to work within to make this a successful project? Before you begin, I would ask you to look at the rubric that's attached to the template you're going to find in the Google Classroom. Today you're going to start out by looking at the 3. This is what it needs to include. Your problem statement needs to identify a specific part of a larger problem, including the what and the why. You also need to tell me who's your target audience. What do they need for a good solution to this problem? In your design statement, you're going to summarize the product. It could be an object, a tool, a process, or a system that's going to help solve the problem that you've identified. Finally, you're going to identify criteria and constraints. They need to meet these criteria. They need to be precise. It's not enough just to say, oh, it needs to solve light pollution. Well, what about light pollution? It also needs to address science principles, and what impacts are you okay with in terms of both humans and the environment? It's important that your criteria and constraints are reasonable, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. And finally, you need to have enough detail that we know exactly what it is you're going to solve. So, let's take a look at the example that I've put together for you. So, in the problem statement, you're going to see 3 parts. This first part really is going to focus in on what the big overall problem is, which for us in this case is light pollution. You can see in this paragraph, I'm really talking about what it is light pollution is and why it matters overall as a problem. From this paragraph, you can't tell what my specific problem is, but it's like I'm setting the table. I'm giving you the big picture that my little problem is going to fit within. The next part of my problem statement is going to narrow in on my topic. So my topic for light pollution that I'm going to be looking at is astronomers and how they can study the night sky using telescopes. So I'm going to get much more focused on just that part of the problem. What are the issues for astronomy and studying with telescopes because of light pollution? This probably came from the article that I read yesterday in class. The last part you're going to notice is a question. This is the overarching question that I'm trying to answer by solving this problem. I am making sure that it's very specific. It's not general, how are we fixing light pollution? It's much more focused in on one specific place. After you look at the problem statement, you're going to then move into either the criteria and constraints next or design statement. That's going to be up to you. The design statement is just a short summary, and I know you've been working on those in language arts, that tells me what I'm going to create, what I'm going to start brainstorming. And for my problem, I've picked technology or a tool. You could also pick a process, you could pick a law. There's lots of options. It doesn't just have to be a tool. You're again going to give definite detail. You're going to see specific concepts such as sky glow, which ties it back to science, and what I'm trying to limit in my design. Last, but certainly not least, are the criteria and constraints. criteria, the best way for us to explain that is what our design needs to do. So, for my example, I need to reduce the amount of sky glow that's reflecting off the ground so that we can use a telescope. I'm going to limit how long lights are on at night. If lights are off, I can see the stars. And I want it to be able to be used with existing technologies that are near the universities. It also has to be safe for people. As you look at these, you can see science concepts. So here we talk about sky glow, we talk about reflecting. Those are things we've talked about and learned about the science of. I also talk about people and how it's going to impact them, where they live, near universities, and that it turns light on when people are near them because people are scared of the dark. Constraints are the systems or items I have to work with. So for example, my due date is always a constraint. When do I have to have this done by? Which in your case is October 27th. What else do I want to or have to work within? I have to work that I can test this idea in a classroom. So saying I will send something to outer space is probably not a reasonable solution to this problem right now. I also talk about the environment here, that I want it to be friendly to the environment because we're a sustainable school and we want things to be sustainable when we're putting them out in the world. In your Google Classroom, you're going to find a couple other examples for you to look at. What you will find are 3 exemplars. These are each annotated examples showing you why they scored a score of 2, 3, or 4. So there's one for a 2, there's one for a 3, and there's one for a 4. If you have questions, please ask the sub. Let her know what questions you have. Get your draft completed and submitted in the Google Classroom by the end of the hour. That way I can take a look at them tomorrow night, tonight, and have feedback for you when we come back to this on Thursday. Hope you have a good day. Yes, you can listen to your headphones while you work on this. That's fine. You are working on one of these per team. If you have any questions, let me know. And if not, I'll see you tomorrow for Innovation Wednesdays. Hope you have a good day.